Hello, this is David E. Hilster. I am a critical thinker, dissident scientist, and if you are not science woke, then this is the place for you. There are literally thousands and thousands of scientists from around the world who have been working for decades outside the mainstream, who have identified problems, fixed those problems, and who are proposing new theories and models. You won't find anything like this on YouTube, so make sure you go down below and click on the subscribe button and the little bell next to it, and you'll be alerted to when our next video drops. Well, I tell you, clear my throat. I know, I haven't been around for a while, been working on things. I also have had vlogger's block. I go in to try to do this video for like, I don't know how many times. I believe it's over 50 times I've tried to do this. Yeah, boo. I mean, I got to go to acting school or I got to do something, but I can't get through them. So I'm going to get through this once and for all and give it up and say, hey, it's never going to be perfect. So anyways, let's go forward and to our topic today, which comes from Dr. Glen Bourchardt, the Infinity Guy, the Infinity Guru. This is from his blog called The Scientific Worldview. And if you look right there, that's his book called The Scientific Worldview, which is in my top 5 books of all time to read. If you haven't read it, you must read it. You can get it down below. I have all the links to it, and you can buy it on Amazon or other places, and it is an amazing read. And he has questions that he answers on his blog. So let's get to it. And here it is, the Scientific Worldview blog. And the Scientific Worldview blog has this question: why does the universe exist? An update. Well, the update part is that because Nick, who liked the previous version of this blog, now it appears to be one of the more popular blogs. So he thought he would make it more ample. So that's what he did. So let's go right into that blog and start reading it. The universe exists because it cannot not exist. Non-existence is impossible. That is because non-existence would require perfectly empty space, which is completely imaginary. Space is one of the ideal end members of the empty space solid matter continuum. What he's saying is completely empty space is an idealization. There's no such thing everywhere. Just the same way as where we can pick some space and we think there's no mass in it. Wrong. There's matter in it. Yes, it's solid matter. We'll call it matter. And if we take a telescope and we, as we have done, and we've gone into what we call deep field space, which we have done when the Hubble was first shot out there, it says, let's take a look at the place where we see nothing. Guess what they found? Thousands and thousands, if not millions of galaxies. So it seems like every time we get a more powerful telescope and we look out and upwards, we find more and more stuff. So no matter where we look, we look in the universe, we find stuff in space. There is no such thing as empty space. So that's what he's saying. We have no perfectly empty space, and we have no perfect solids. As all idealizations, empty space and solid matter cannot exist. Again, those two extremes. According to the infinite universe theory, which I have right up here, which is an interview that I did with Dr. Glen Bourchardt on his latest book, which is also a great book. You should read that. Everything in existence has both characteristics, that it has space and that it has matter. We use those idealizations to avoid hitting walls and to go through doors, even though walls are not perfectly solid and doorways are not perfectly empty. What he's saying is, why doesn't my finger go through this? And then why does my hand go through the air? And what he's saying is, those are idealizations. We say, well, we've met a perfect solid. No, we haven't. This is space. Yeah, we can move freely because there's space. The truth is it's neither extreme. It's not all space or it's not all perfectly solid. Okay? Very interesting stuff. I love Dr. Glen Bourchardt. He is one of my favorite. In other words, the universe exists because empty space is impossible. The universe produces an infinite number of things, but it cannot produce perfectly empty space. Production requires the convergence of other things. Perfectly empty space is not a thing. So the convergence of nothing to form more nothing is sort of oxymoronic. However, when we consider space as matter, it fits our definition of matter as an abstraction for all things. Also, according to infinity, all things contain other things. He also says there are no such thing as partless parts. You can never find the ultimate particle. Oops. ultimate particle. Take a look at my, if you're enjoying this, take a look at my ultimate particle video right there. I talk about that. That is why we have never been able to find any perfectly empty space, and why perfectly solid matter is impossible. And he does have references. If you want to see those references, you can find them below in the link and read the references from his blog. Although the infinite universe cannot be completely understood by anyone, we gradually accumulate knowledge that allows us to survive and to make sense of our surroundings. Well, our head's finite. The universe is infinite. We're not going to understand everything. Again, the scientific answer to why the universe exists is simply that it is impossible to not exist. When folks ask, why is there something instead of nothing? They are sensing something. They are sensing something, but only imagining nothing. They say, what if there was nothing at all? Well, that's not possible in our universe. Idealists inclined to ask these questions are unlikely to be satisfied with the answer provided by the infinite universe theory. That is because idealists tend to think in absolute terms, and that's true. The world is, when it's not black and white, it's a mess. It's messy, and the universe is messy in that sense. But there are idealists who don't want it that way. That is because idealists tend to think in absolute terms. I said that. For them, space is empty and matter is solid. By its nature, the infinite universe always passes the buck. What does that mean? Well, it means that, if, here, it's solid, it can't get through. Well, there's space there, and inside this stuff is made up of smaller things called atoms. Those atoms, nope, but the atoms are made of smaller things, and it always passes the buck. There's always something below it. It's turtles all the way down and turtles all the way up. They will continue to ask the question, but where did it all come from? Each thing in the infinite universe is complex. Each thing in the universe is a complex formed from still other things in the universe. Again, partless. There are no such partless parts. Things are always made of stuff, and those stuff is made of stuff, etc. Turtles all the way down. The nice, tidy, finite universe of the Big Bang appeals because everything we have observed had a beginning. What he's saying is the Big Bang is a lot more appealing. To finally realize those observations do not apply to the universe as a whole is a grandiose step. What he's saying is that's not an easy step to take. It's not an easy step to go from the Big Bang where we know everything and it's how old this is and where it all came from. It sort of gives us the sign of why and why did the Big Bang happen? Well, even that kind of thing. It is comfortable. The Big Bang is comfortable. The infinite universe is not comfortable. It is to finally reject cosmogony and to join the last cosmological revolution. Don't know if it's the last one, but it's the next big one, and that's the infinite universe. And I'm going to talk more about that when I talk about infinity, why this is important. This is in the context of infinity and theories that use infinity. And the theories of today in mainstream, just to put it simply, is the fact that the theories like the Standard Model, they're always looking for the ultimate particle. It was atoms and their atomic structure, the periodic table. We had over 100 of them. We have over 100 of them. Oh, but no, those are made of three things or two things, depending on who you're talking to. At least nucleons, a nucleus, and stuff going around the nucleus. Oh, and then there's so many of them, and that's why we get the atoms. Oh, but maybe those things are made out of quarks, and they're all quarks. Of course, then that's where it starts to fall apart, the Standard Model, because quarks aren't one thing. There are 6 of them, then there were 9 of them, there are now back to 6 of them, and they have a million different characteristics that are absolutely crazy. So is that really one particle? No. They made it into one particle. They're trying to do that. But according to the new theories, like our particle model, my father and I, it goes down and down and down. For light to bend, which it does when it hits mass or it hits water, or in refraction or diffraction when you put those triangles of crystals where the light goes in and makes a rainbow, that's bending because there's something below that makes it bend. Something in the universe below it that you can't see, that is a force that's there. It's not a magical force. There are particles, and the particles and have particles, and there's G1, G2, G3, G4, infinitum. And if you look at Glen Bourchardt, which is an ether theory, he has ether 1, ether 2, ether 3, and infinitum. Those things solve lots of problems, and I will be talking about that later. But for now, no. And the way I would look at this question is what he's saying is, the idea that why does the universe exist is an impossibility, because non-existence is impossible. There can never be completely empty space. There's always something there. And that, again, that's what he is saying is the last cosmological revolution, or at least the next one. And I hope you've enjoyed this, because I certainly have. And I also have one other way to think about, does the universe exist philosophically? To ask the question, does it exist? You have to exist. Circular problem. Remember, don't take my word for it or anybody else's. Stay critical, stay thinking. I am Dave D. Hilster. I'm your science therapist trying to get you science woke. Ciao for now. Yay, I made it through it. Yay! 155 times. The 156th is a charm. Ciao.